Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns. Welcome to 333 Magic 9, where the tarot cards and the stars work together to bring you insights of a cosmic nature for your life. Please take a moment to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so you'll know when new videos are put up. FYI, I am using a 0-degree equal house chart, so the small numbers in the center of the circle may not match, but the interpretations are correct. I am doing this to conserve paper due to the many forests that are being destroyed by fire. Now, let us take a closer look at your cards and stars. October is always a transitional month, and the first week of October starts underneath the light of a full moon. And that is why we have the tarot card Luna, or the moon. Now, this card is often associated with difficulties and deceptions when dealing with other people. But there's also a part of this card that can be very sensitive. The moon is very sensitive, so it can enhance psychic abilities on the positive level. The question becomes, will you be able to keep yourself clear and avoid misunderstanding other people and their motives? Now, it's important that you do not let your imagination run wild in a negative sense. You should use your imagination in a productive sense. And this can be helped here with the moon conjunct Chiron, which is called the wounded healer. So that might really help this become much more positive. Now, this can be a little challenging because the full moon represents an opposition of the sun in the fourth house of emotional foundations and the moon up in your 10th house of career and status. Now, this is an important time to really sense your emotional security, what makes it feel like your life is secure. So you're going to have to be very sensitive with family members because this is the area that rules home and family. And, you're not allowed to really pick on people. Even if they're a little strung out, it's okay. You have to be a little bit understanding. So give your support, but not your opinions unless they're asked for. So home and hearth give you the chance to recharge your batteries here so that you can take on the world up here. So you have to nurture both the home and family and the career and status and balance the two of them off. The next important change that comes will be the entry of Venus into Virgo in your third house. And this is the house of mind and communications. Now, Virgo is not the happiest sign for Venus. Virgo tends to be a little bit critical. So you have to be a little bit careful of that. But Venus transit your third house is great for assimilating new ideas, for sharing them with your friends, and for seeking some new adventure, even on an intellectual level or out in the world, in your neighborhood. Take a walk, see something new. So don't waste this time staying home. It's time to make new friends. If you need to make a presentation or express your ideas in a group setting, use the gentleness and charm of lovely Venus to communicate with feeling. As we move ahead from the 7th through the 16th, there's a little bit of a disruption, which I call the clash between warriors. And there's a lot of warriors here on the chart circle. And there's also the coming confusion of Mercury, which will be going retrograde. And so I'm using the card, the Tower, to best describe the conflict of energy that's floating around. The Tower is a card of disruption and unforeseen changes. Now, no one likes a surprise, especially if it destroys the status quo or what we have become accustomed to. But, sometimes change is good and necessary. So make sure you are careful in your reaction time, don't fly off the handle, and don't let your ego go out of control. Others may be looking for a fight, especially with the oppositions and the square here, the very big square I'll talk about in a minute. But remember, if other people are looking for a fight, this might be a fight to the finish. So be careful what you're fighting for. The week will end, the first week, with a flighty Mercury in the 5th house, and right here, and in opposition to Uranus up in the 11th house. Now, this is a disruptive and confusing energy. And this aspect happens twice this month, on the 7th and the 19th. That's because Mercury is going retrograde. So Mercury in the 5th house of romantic feelings can enhance relationships by allowing you to say the right words at the right time. So it's actually a good time to try to express your creative and romantic energies. But remember, he is in opposition to Uranus in the 11th. Now, this can bring some challenges through your friends or groups that you might want to join. Now, it's nice to do good in the world, but you don't want to be manipulated. And Uranus up in the 11th house can bring willful, very creative, but very willful people into your sphere. So know the real purpose behind your social activities in any groups that you might want to join. Now Mars, and here's where it really gets dicey, Mars is up here in the 10th house. And Mars is the god of war, as you know, and he will stimulate your ambition and your drive for success. You'll want to be recognized, but you must discipline yourself to the task at hand. You will radiate a sense of confidence that can bring opportunities your way. But remember this, there is a major square to Pluto. And Pluto is Hades, the god of the underworld. And Saturn is there, and Jupiter is there. So there's a lot of conflicted energy. So you're going to have to realize that Pluto intensifies your relationships either in business or personal issues. So you may be able to deepen your bonds to work for a better world. Or you may have some conflicts with others. So what you need to do is you're going to need to connect with people on a deep level, but to cooperate with them, especially people who have more power than you do, and they therefore can empower you. So just think of it this way. Madness is selfishness. Influence may be the gift of this energy. The Hanged Man is up here, and he suggests that we take a different perspective on life. And if you look at the Hanged Man, he's not in any way suffering. He's just looking at things differently. He's upside down, and that's the perfect card for Mercury, which will go retrograde. He's going retrograde in your 5th house of creativity and romance on the 13th. Yeah, you need to be aware that what you want may be a bit different than your romantic partners. That's always, misunderstanding always causes problems. It's not that anyone is wrong, but there's confusing energy. Mercury is retrograde, and that can mess up everybody's pleasure principle. It's also important to realize that the Sun will be moving into conjunction with Mercury later on in the month on the 25th. And this can also add some extra difficulty and extra misunderstanding. So make sure everyone is listening to each other so that the peace can be maintained. We now move to October 17th through 24th, and the card this week is the Lovers. Woo! That's a beautiful card. Now this card often suggests a choice must be made between following the path of pleasure or the possibility of flirting with temptation. Now there may be an important choice to be made, which must be guided by your higher inspiration and aspiration. You really have to remember that love is a serious adventure that demands cooperation and commitment between two people. And it's often said that there's a lot of illusion in love. And this is important right now because there's also a Neptune-Venus opposition. And Venus represents the lower love nature, and Neptune represents the higher spiritual love nature. So this could represent a shattering of illusions. So you have to keep that in mind. You might not be seeing things the way they are. You may be seeing things the way you would like to. But there is help on the horizon, and that help comes from a trine. It's a double trine from Venus to Pluto and to Saturn. Now, Pluto here in your 7th house asks you to find a deeper purpose for your relationships. And the Venus trine to Pluto is going to be really helpful for you to assimilate new ideas, to converse with others, to share ideas with your friends, and maybe even join them in a new adventure. So don't waste this time staying home. Get out and make some new friends. The influence of Venus trine to Saturn is a stabilizing influence. So use common sense when dealing with the public and people that you do not know. And remember that business as well as relationships always requires patience and cooperation. The final week is October 25th to 31st, and the card here is the Four of Swords. Now, as you can see, it is a card of rest and repose. And just think of all the other energy that has been experienced this month so far. There's so much been going on during this transitional month that you may need to take some time to gather your forces together by being in quiet or in solitude. And this will help prepare you because there is another jolt that is coming. And that is why the Wheel of Fortune card is up here, because what is happening is the moon is going to come around, and the moon will be conjunct Uranus and in opposition to the sun, because there's a full moon at the end of the month. The month started with a full moon, it ends with the full moon. So the Wheel of Fortune may really be appropriate because there is a bunch of change energy in the air. So the full moon conjunct Uranus falls in your 11th house opposite the sun, which will be in your 5th house. Now, what this suggests is that you must maintain a balance between what your social ambitions are, your 11th house, and what you might need from other people in intimate relationships, which is your 5th house of pleasure and dating and things of that nature. It's great to be in social demand, but responsibilities, can always get in the way of personal expression and enjoyment. So maintain your social connections without losing time for intimate relationships. It takes a bit of genius, but that's what Uranus is all about, but it could be worth it, so you can actually put creativity to work in a group situation while still finding time for some romance and pleasure. So enjoy. Thank you for watching. Please like and share these videos with your friends, for they are free. That's a great price. And I hope you have a great month.